It's not a party without the drugs. Chapter 17, The World on Juice, Hippie Flip. I looked off of the dirt path towards the wooden pallets where I laid eyes on Kaylee for the first time. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed her head turn in the same direction as mine. Her hand gripped on tighter and her body moved closer to mine as we crossed the dirt path into hippie vision. I stared at the young white man casually chilling behind the cash register in a lawn chair. His curly brown grizzly beard rubbed up against his tie-dye shirt as he spoke. "How's it going, guys? Back for a refill, eh?" Kaylee smiled. "Most definitely. You're going to need more liquor by the end of the day because we're going to be drinking all day long." The male's eyes glanced over at Blake and I. Then his eyes stalled for a second as he looked into Kaylee's eyes. "Just don't get too wild. I saw a guy masturbating at Keys and Crates earlier today. He must have been tripping balls because he just dropped his pants out of nowhere." He looked back towards me and Blake. Next thing you know, his boxers were down around his ankles. He just started yanking on his dick. Blake laughed. I laughed out loud while I replayed some guy dropping his jeans all the way down to his ankles and stroking one off to the base. My chest started to pound and pound, faster and faster, as I giggled at the picture forming in my head. Kaylee handed her pink hydro pack to the bearded male. "Make it strong. We're trying to make this Big G set unforgettable." The male grabbed onto the pink hydro pack and a grin formed on his face. He knelt down behind his register. Then I watched closely as he filled the clear bag halfway full with Fireball. Then he dispensed cherry Coke into the water pack from a soda machine. I watched the pack overflow with a little excess falling onto the ground as he passed the bag back over the counter to Kaylee. She twisted the plastic knob on tightly. That's when I noticed an exchange occur as she handed him a $20 bill. My pupils expanded as he gripped onto the $20 bill and dropped it into a black safe underneath the register. Like a trigger being pulled, my mind went off spiraling back to the black bin at the gates. Is he working for the festival? Do the drugs and money go to the same place? Kaylee spun my body around in a 90-degree motion. Then she pulled my arms one by one through the shoulder straps. She spun me towards her as she clicked the strap across my chest. Then her voice became high-pitched as it penetrated off my face. "Annalise?" I looked behind my back at a woman who appeared behind the bearded male. Her brunette hair radiated in the shade against her light Mexican skin. I listened closely as they hugged in front of the register area. "How have you been, girl?" Her friend pointed at the bearded shop owner. "I've been good, girl. Just been traveling to all these festivals with my lover. How about you?" "That's so good to hear. I'm doing great as well. Hunter's here with me, and I just met this amazing guy." She waved. "Hunter, how's it going?" He threw up a peace sign. "Spectacular." I placed the foam mouthpiece from the vibration pack in between my lips and took a drag. My eyes shifted back towards the bearded man who was now stacking clothes on a shelf near the register area. I glanced around quickly and noticed no one was in the store. I walked towards the shelf behind the register and asked him out of curiosity, "So do you do this at every festival?" His brown eyes connected with mine. "Well, it's a little complicated because each festival varies, but most festivals I do." He finished stacking the clothes on the shelf and started moving towards the register to grab another brown box. He spoke with his back turned to me while he lined the main shelf behind the register with sunglasses. "I wish I could sell these glasses I made." I looked at him as our eyes reconnected. "So why don't you just sell those glasses?" He kept eye contact with me. "Because everyone here at the festival knows it's not a party without the drugs. So I figured if I have a reason for them to stop in at the tent, then I'll sell more glasses." I looked at the younger 20s man up and down. I would have never suspected someone like him committing such a crime. He was a modern-day hippie. He wore trippy, loose apparel. He had white skin, and his brown, shaggy, curly hair looked like it hadn't been combed in the past year or 3. He lifted up another box. "Yeah, I can't complain, though. I'm blessed to be able to share my own creation with the world." The more I looked at him, the more I realized how much he resembled other attendees at the festival. His body swayed carelessly in the air. His hands jittered with excitement as they danced across the shelves, lining the shades in parallel rows along the side of some colorful hats. I took another pull off of the foam mouthpiece. Liquor and cola shot into my mouth, triggering my face to scrunch up. The strong bitter and sweet cinnamon taste stimulated as a fiery, tingly spark in my mouth formed. His words struck my brain, then reality set in. This guy was the supplier of the main drug that transformed this entire festival into one big party, alcohol. I took one last drag in an attempt to dilute the fire in my mouth, but it didn't work. My face churned with the taste of disgust as I looked at the bearded male. I wiped my mouth as the sweet cinnamon liquids began to rest in between the crevices of my lips. Something hit me hard like a rock smashing through a glass window. The cops! They weren't looking for someone selling liquor. The cops had to be focused on busting drug dealers who were selling hard drugs. The blood pulsated through my veins. I never could have ever dreamed of a place like this. But then again, I never imagined a place where consuming drugs was acceptable, legal until now. The male stared directly at me for a moment and stopped his work. Yeah, I remember when I first started in the industry 3 years ago. I was interested in how everyone got their drugs in, because everyone was on drugs or had drugs. I assumed they got them in the same way we did. He pointed at the woman talking to Kaylee. We used to fill one of those hollowed out hairspray cans full of drugs, but after a year of vending, I couldn't stand the anxiety I got waiting in line at the festival gates. So now I just dance and wait for the dealers to come to me. Blake wrapped his arm around my shoulders and pulled me back towards the entrance of the tent. Y'all ready to go to Big G, or are we gonna just sit around talking all day? Right when we reached the exit of the tent, I looked back at the male who swiftly maneuvered over the counter and sprinted towards us. Fucking right, bud. I got some doobies to roast and tabs to drop. Let's go.